This is actually kind of, I don't know if you're going to even have this guy on your list, so this should be interesting.
Okay.
Number 10, I had Green Bay Packers defensive tackle Kenny Clark.
Okay. I actually, you're right. I don't have him in my top 10. I don't hate the pick though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. My 10th person is not strong. I would lie to you if I was saying I was throwing him out there on name alone.
Okay.
But I went with AKIEM HICKS, similar in division guy.
AKIEM HICKS. Did I? Hold on. Okay, I respect that.
See, I don't have. Yeah, I don't hate yours though. Yours. I feel like mine is like, all right. I don't know what I want to put down here. I'm gonna look at the last All Pros in the last 5 years and pick that guy. Where you picked a guy that's probably on the ascend, who keeps getting better, who's been pretty good for a while.
I mean, he was a 2016 first-round pick, and he just made and he just made his first Pro Bowl this past year.
Kenny Clark was not a first-round pick.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
First round, 27th overall by the Green Bay Packers out of UCLA.
Wait, is this no? Is he really a first-round pick?
Yeah, Kenneth Dwayne Clark Jr.
Kenneth Dwayne, yeah, I'm looking at him.
But yeah, I mean,
first round, 27th. Huh?
I didn't hear of him till this year because he's been pretty quiet. But I mean,
he's only been in the league for what? When did we say he was drafted?
2016. So he's played 46 games, has 16 and a half sacks. Respectable for D tackle.
Yeah. Took him a while. Well, what's his face was in front of him? Mike Daniels.
Yeah, and then he was traded to Detroit, I think.
Yeah.
But his PFF grade is 79.9. So
I'm just surprised that this was actually a good first round pick. The Packers are one team that does not know how to draft.
As we can see of
not even the Jordan Love thing. Like everyone's wondering how Aaron Rodgers has only won one Super Bowl because that team is so poorly assembled around him.
Well, I mean, this was like the greatest draft for wide receivers in a decade, and they didn't draft a single one. So,
hey, bold move for some. It's amazing to think that they went from when he started his career, like Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, James Jones. Jermichael Finley even had a cup of coffee in the NFL. And now, like, Aaron Rodgers has Devontae Adams, who, don't get me wrong, is amazing. But the rest of their team's trash.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, their defense is better than it was.
The defense is good because they got lucky on 2 free agent signings.
Yeah.
Preston Smith surprised me, but Zadarius Smith, I wanted him. He was good. He was good with the Ravens.
Final thoughts on AKIEM HICKS, or it was just a name that you like?
This was more name. I'll be honest. I don't want to lie. This was more name.
Right.
It was number 10 D tackle. He's not a bad player.
No.
So,
right.
But he was more name. I don't really have a great reasoning for that one.
What was your? We'll start you off with number 9 then.
All right, 9. I went with a solid guy, underrated, but I went with JURRELL Casey.
That's funny. My number 9 guy was also JURRELL Casey.
Interesting.
I
thought that the way that worked out, he was actually, I told you we got drunk on the draft and just wrote names down with question marks. He was one of the few interior guys that we put down, and I knew he was going to be on this list. I didn't know where, but if you factor in the Titans have actually done stuff in the last couple of years, like, you got to give it to him. He's the only guy on that defense. Well, he's the best guy on the defense, put it that way.
Oh, which is funny because he's a Bronco.
Oh, yeah. Well,
which I didn't know until I looked that up like yesterday.
I didn't know it too. You actually surprised me with that one.
And I looked for a 7th round pick. Dude's made the Pro Bowl 5 years in a row, and they got him for a 7th round pick. Must be the contract, but yeah.
Listen, you gave Ryan Tannehill over $100 million. This is what you have to do. You have to cut penny somewhere else. Would I have given Ryan Tannehill over $1 million a year? Absolutely not. But we did great.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I noticed with a lot of my picks in this top 10, a lot of these players are like veteran, like, in the game.
Yeah, you get the name. Yeah, that's what. Well, my interior linemen are like that. Half of them are easily on their bottom end of their career with a name, like AKIEM HICKS. The other ones are still fighting and ascending. Kenny Clark was a good pick, though. I do like that one.
All right, and then
so 8 you.
So interesting enough, my number 8 was AKIEM HICKS.
Interesting.
I think he's bounced around a lot. I mean, he started out with the Saints. Yeah, he was quiet with them. Then he got traded to the Pats for like a rental half season or whenever that was.
The Pats just always taking a chance on every single player to cross the end.
And then ever since he's been with the Bears, he's been honestly a beast. So
See, I mean, I have him at 10. My 8, and my 8 is I actually had him a little higher, and I just did a last-minute maneuver to put him down. But I've got, and this is going to be polarizing, is Sue.
Really?
Listen, I get it. Miami was terrible. He was an elite player in Detroit, but Tampa Bay had the #1 rush defense in the league. And don't tell me that the reason they brought Gerald McCoy on a 1-year deal didn't play a factor in that.
No, I mean, you know what's funny? If we did this 5 years ago, Sue would be easy, like 1 or 2.
Oh, without a doubt.
But
Well, he'd probably been 1. Yeah, I mean, don't want to spoil anything, but he came in the league before my top 3.
yeah, but in my list, Sue didn't make the cut.
See, that's where he has to make the list.
No, I think he's just been a non-factor these last 2 years. I don't.
Well, relax. I agreed with. Well, I mean, he was on the Rams when they went to the Super Bowl. Obviously, he didn't put up the numbers, but that was a good defense right there.
I mean, I'm not. He would be like 11, 12, or 13. But
stop!
I don't
see this.
He's not.
No.
There's a reason he's signing 1-year contracts. He's not
because he's getting money. Remember when Darrelle Revis did it, and he was making $16 million a year for different teams?
And once he left the Jets, he was no more Revis Island. That shit sank.
I know, he was still signing 1-year, $16 million contracts though with the Buccaneers and Patriots. Though I don't think it was that bad for him. Yeah, I think Sue understands that at this point he's loaded. He has a legacy. You could argue. I'm not saying he is. You could argue a Hall of Fame case for him now. But at this point, I just see him chasing dollars on it. But if you put in the factor in, he signed a 1-year deal with Buccaneers. He just re-upped for another year with Buccaneers for a reason. They were the #1 rush defense for a reason.
So let's see. So he's been in the league since 2010. And
I mean, he was probably an All-Pro almost every year he was with the Lions. 5-time
Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro.
Okay.
2010 Rookie of the Year.
That's incredible. That's a Hall of Fame start to a career.
Let's see. 158 games played, 58.5 sacks. It's not too bad.
A little better than 1 every 3 games.
But again, you have to remember D tackle, like
he's not really a pass rusher too.
Right. D tackle is more of like run stopping pressure.
Where it's almost like, oh my God, #1 run defense in the league, like the Buccaneers just had after they signed. No, I'm going to say it. So here's the thing. Here's why he is so good, and this is where you get stepped on. Is the Buccaneers had a All-Pro, arguable Hall of Fame cornerstone at D tackle. They kicked him out, brought in Sue, and now they have the #1 rush defense in the league, and that's not by coincidence.
I guess. I mean, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe he should have been.
I think Sue goes the other way. You grade him off of the Dolphins years. There's no way. He's like Albert Hainsworth, Redskins, esque on the Dolphin years.
What a throwback.
Yeah, but that's the thing is the Dolphins suck. They're a horribly run team, and they're awful. So if you're getting paid a butt ton of money and your team's going nowhere, why not? Fuck it. I don't care, Then after that, he puts him – look at it this way. He put himself on 1-year deals. You shit on his 1-year deals, but look at his 1-year deals. He signed a 1-year deal with the Rams and went to the Super Bowl. He signed a 1-year deal with the Buccaneers, had the #1 rush defense in the league. He signed another 1-year deal with the Buccaneers, and now they have Tom Brady.
I'm not shitting on the 1-year deals. I'm just saying there's a reason that's his market now. I mean, his numbers are still good. They're not bad.
I think he's okay with the 1-year deal. He's not.
I'll take it.
Would you look at basic general manager? Would you give more money to someone to sign a 1-year deal than a 3-year deal per year? Because you're stuck with them for 3 years. I'll give you $16 million and you disappear.
Whatever.
Fair enough. I knew this was going to be the controversy one. My remaining 2 tackles, I'm not gonna lie, are pretty chalk. This was the one I knew was going to cause a little stir, and I still firm behind it.
Mine's going to cause some stir too.
Oh God, we go.
Let's see.
This is where Benny Logan makes the top 3.
Did you say Benny Logan?
Yeah.
Is he even in the league anymore?
I don't think so.
Oh. All right. Who's your number 7?
My 7, and mind you, this was a switch because I had Sue at 7 at first. This last-minute switch because I felt like I was disrespecting him.
Okay.
Kawan Short.
I see. Interesting.
It doesn't sound like you see.
I didn't have Kawan Short in my top 10.
I don't know about that.
I had Sue and I had Short written down on my list, and I took them off.
See, coming from a guy who had Hicks in his top 10, Sue and Short are both better than Hicks. and it's not even close. Akeem Hicks got good when Khalil Mack showed up there. I could be good next to Khalil Mack.
Perhaps. I don't know. Personal preference.
Look at it. You just got to look at it this way. Muhammad Sue went to a defense, and you don't forget this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense before he got there was ass. He wasn't the only reason they got better. Shaquille Barrett had literally a defensive player of the year season. Yeah, but do you think that they both, Barrett blows up, Sue signs a 1-year deal? Those don't coincide. Come on now. Dante Fowler also had a career year with Sue on the inside.
I would just like to point out that Quan Short hasn't done anything the last few years.
His team's been horrifically awful.
That doesn't matter.
It does, though.
He had 3 sacks. 2019, he was hurt, I think. And then 2018, he only had 3 sacks, 7 QB hits, 40 tackles. Like, those aren't good. He was great. He would have been top 5 a couple years ago.
Like I said, half this list is on name.
All right. Well,
I still think I like Quan Short a little bit. He went to the Pro Bowl in 2018.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good margin of success.
So this one I moved around many times.
Here we go.
This is because of my personal opinion on this player.
Okay.
So number 7, I have DeForest Buckner. And I know a lot of people would say he's top 4, he's up there. However, it's also hard for me to evaluate a San Francisco player because of how talented their line is.
Well, if you factor in the Buckner was successful before Nick Bosa and DeFord got there.
The thing with Buckner is, I'm trying to bring up his stats real quick.
I don't know about this Buckner nonsense.
So he's been in the league. He's played 4 seasons. He only made 1 Pro Bowl. Okay. And he's got good. I mean, his numbers are solid. 63 games to 28.5 sacks. But I just don't.
Defensive lineman.
I don't know. I just don't think he's his QB hits are fine. They're in the 20s, high teens, but he just doesn't really. I mean, his physique is crazy. 6'7", 300 pounds, but I just think personally the 6 players I have in front of him are better.
See, here's my thing. I'm looking at his numbers. Last year he had 7.5 sacks, granted on a stacked D-line.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that, he had 12 on a not stacked D-line. Nick Bosa and DeFord were not on that D-line when he was getting 12 sacks.
No.
He's played 4 years for the Niners. 2 of those years were god-awful teams. The year that they had the top 3 pick for Solomon Thomas and the year they had the top 3 pick for Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nick Bosa 1 year, quarterback got hurt. You can't – I think it's incredibly difficult as a D lineman to shine on a horrific team because you're usually losing. So the other team is usually just running. They're not passing. It's easy to rack up sacks when, your team is in a shootout. Look at Shaquille Barrett. The guy has 19.5 sacks the first year he plays with Jameis Winston, who throws for 5,000 yards and 30 interceptions.
Yeah.
There's just the other team has always got a chance. They're like, shit, we're down by 21 points, but Jameis Winston just threw us a fucking pick 6 for no reason. So you bring out the pass rush and you go out to him because you know the passing. You can't hold Buckner down because half of his career were some god-awful teams. The best year of his career was the best successful year of his career. We'll say the team success.
Yeah.
Because obviously I think the year before when he had the 12 sacks, he was most successful.
That was his only Pro Bowl year.
He was the best. He was the leader of that defense.
Fair enough. I had him at 4, and then I moved him to 5, and then I pushed him back to 7.
All right, here to spoil something, I have him at 3, so I think you were right with the 4.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. Here's the one thing though. I don't mind trading a first-round pick for him if I'm the Colts, and I understand why the Niners did it. I don't think it was a bad move on their part.
No.
Giving DeForest Buckner over $20 million a year, I don't know about that.
And that's why
I'll hear you, but he's not a top 7. He's not a 7th overall D tackle because he gets a lot of money, and the Colts are idiotic for giving it to him.
All right. So number 6, I had old reliable Geno Atkins.
Okay. I am actually perfectly okay with that. I say we wrap it around this one because at 6, and I made a last-minute switch just with Sue and Schwartz, I have Grady Jarrett.
Interesting.
I think he earns that spot. He was a second-team All-Pro last year. He had 7.5 sacks last year. He showed out. He was young on that Super Bowl team, and he played really well. They brought him back. They made him the centerpiece of the defense over Vic Beasley. I think he deserves the spot.
I
But
haven't said his name yet, so
speeding up a little bit. No, I get that. I think I did a disservice, and this is where I don't really like this one. Is I should have put Jarrett in front of Atkins, but I have Geno Atkins at 5.
Okay. Yeah, he's it's
like
amazing.
I said, name. The name got him that one.
Yeah, like Geno Atkins and Dunlap, like it low key were like two of the greatest duo on the line that we've seen in the last decade.
Yeah, the thing is their numbers were fine. It's just they did literally nothing. If you look
at their team.
Yeah, that's that's another time. But if you look at Geno Atkins, like he's got all the All Pros and Pro Bowls in the world, but dude, your team's done nothing. He is a Joe Thomas, Calvin Johnson-esque player.
Yeah, I mean,
really, he's the best in his position, or was.
8-time Pro Bowl, 2 All-Star, 2 All-Pros, 75.5 career sacks, 171 QB hits. Like
that's really amazing. He does have the sack numbers, which people like.
Yeah, that's only in 150 games, so that's what, like a sack every other game. Like that's crazy.
So all right, here's Geno Atkins. What do you think? I think Geno Atkins will probably end up as a Hall of Fame player. If he gets to 100 sacks, he definitely is. Do you think Geno Atkins played long enough to get 25 sacks?
I mean, I think his numbers now, he's played what, 10 seasons? Almost?
Not that many? Really?
He's drafted in 2010.
So he's drafted the same year as Sue.
Yeah. I think Atkins.
What a defensive tackle class.
Yeah, I think he's Hall of Fame. I think him and Sue.
Honestly, I mean, if Joe Thomas and Calvin Johnson get in there, you have no reason not to put Geno Atkins in. If he can get to 100 sacks, he's got 25. I don't know how many years he's got left, but 25 is, I think, realistic. Maybe 3 years.
Well, I mean,
3 productive years.
Calvin Johnson and Joe Thomas were incredible. They're definitely Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but they also had much shorter careers than Geno Atkins did.
And so did Barry Sanders.
Not so much Joe Thomas, but he played for a while. Calvin Johnson, though.
Yeah, well.
But again, players that were really good in their position and in the NFL that did absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So you had Atkins at 5.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I had, because the D-line is tough because players move around all the time. So I have Cameron Heyward from the Steelers as a D tackle because apparently he switched to D tackle in 2018.
I'm okay with that because, all right, spoiler alert, you just love to spoil all my presents. You might be seeing Cam Heyward very shortly.
Okay, so yeah, but he's such a consistent player.
No arguments there. 9 sacks. And did you actually know he was first-team All-Pro last year?
I did when I looked it up, but I didn't know before.
I didn't. Yeah, that was like one of those, like, I'm not gonna lie, he wasn't that high up on my list, and then I saw that and I was like, all right, maybe I don't know.
He had the second highest PFF grade this past year, 91.5 for D tackle.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Although, do you think, when did TJ Watt get drafted? Was this his second year in the NFL?
Yeah, I think so.
Because if you think about it, though, like, you're Cam Heyward, can you think of a defense that made a better 360 in 2 years? They brought in 2 all-pro caliber players.
Yeah.
And they even revived Bud Dupree's career. I mean,
they were trash like 3 years ago.
They were horrific.
And then all of a sudden they get, these line players, solid linebacking.
Yeah.
Their corners.
The Minkah Fitzpatrick trade was huge for them.
Yeah, their D-backs were terrible. And
God, they're awful.
Everyone really hated the Minkah trade, but
I was actually one of the biggest haters. I hated everything about it.
I hated it because I wanted him to go to the Eagles, but
I just at the time, Big Ben just gets hurt, so you just lost your starting quarterback. You suck as a team.
Right, the season's chalked.
So you're literally at that point, you could be a top 5 draft pick you're giving away.
Yeah,
a top 5 pick you could pick on Tua or Herbert to replace Roethlisberger,
which I can believe he's still.
Yeah, I mean, then Minkah Fitzpatrick went on to have more touchdowns than the entire Dolphins offense, and you were like, "Oh, this is a great trade."
Did he really?
He had a lot. He had a lot of touchdowns. Like, if you talk about defensive players, because I remember closely looking at it, because I vividly told everyone that would listen, "This is a horrible trade," and it blew up in my face.
Everyone said that, but
I mean, it's most things.
He made the Pro Bowl too, I think.
I think he was an All-Pro, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he was.
He
I mean,
really is.
He's a great
After he
player.
got to the Steelers, he was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he was good with the Dolphins too. So who was your 5? Did we get that?
5 was Geno Atkins. I started it. So what's your 4?
Okay, yeah. So my 4 is Grady Jarrett.
Okay. Not much argument there.
I think he's only been in the league. He was drafted in 2015, so he's still young. He just made his first Pro Bowl. He's already got 21 and a half sacks in 70-some games.
Yeah, I have no argument there. I really, the last 3 people we said, like Cam, Hayward, Atkins, Jarrett, I could have moved them in any order.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going off that, I have Hayward as my 4.
Cam Hayward, okay. Yeah, I mean, I just think Cam's like the, perfect example of consistency, and then I think Grady Jarrett's just going to be. I think he'll be our, not Aaron Donald, but he'll be our
I don't know about that.
He'll be our top guy in a couple of years when he's in his prime. But
I don't know about that. I think we're in his prime right now.
I mean, he's still young, but.
He is, but I mean, like, all right, put it this way. He was put on the map after the Super Bowl. Like, he had the back-to-back sacks or whatever the hell he had, the 3 sacks or whatever it was. Now I think everyone expects him to be great, and then he came out and kept playing well. I mean, he was a Pro Bowler last year, and, second-team All-Pro.
Yeah. All right. This is where I think we only have 3 names left, so I'm guessing.
This is what I'm trying to figure out, because my next one is DeForest Buckner, and I think you're foolish.
Oh, wait.
You're foolish.
So you're missing someone then. Interesting.
No, you have someone that shouldn't be there.
So I have Chris Jones from the Chiefs. Did you forget about him? He plays D tackle. He is a monster.
Is he a D tackle or is he a DN? He's like the 3-4 guy.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He moves around. But I had him as D tackle because that's where his position was listed.
All right. I may have forgotten one. So, you caught me off guard here. I would actually, if I had to off the top of my head, I would probably put Chris Jones as 3 and bump everyone down. And AKIEM HICKS gets kicked out.
Yeah.
I did forget about him. Damn, there goes my credibility.
I mean, he was one of the reasons they won that Super Bowl.
Honestly, the fact is, I spent so much time on the DNs because there were so many DMs to sort through. I didn't put much into D tackles, I guess, to forget a Super Bowl winning champion.
All right, so I think we can just go ahead and assume. So I had Chris Jones at 3, and I'm going to assume you had number 2 Fletcher Cox and number 1 Aaron Donald.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean that's the 1-2. There's really no arguments across the league. That's two best to do it right now.
I could hear an argument for Chris Jones over Cox, but I wouldn't seriously.
Chris Jones hasn't been as consistent as Cox.
I agree.
But Cox does it all. He can rush. He can play the run. He can.
Yeah. Well, he's got
interceptions. He's
honestly, Chris Jones reminds me a lot of Cox.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they play different.
He's a little
games.
Smaller, but
Chris Jones is tall, but he's not as.
He's not
mass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot Chris Jones. Now I feel like all my credibility is out the window. I was giving you shit for Buckner at 7, which I still give you shit for.
I think it's If removing, I would probably flip Atkins and Buckner, and then I don't know. I think Buckner's
see the hate for Buckner.
It's not hate. I just don't. If you're at his physique, he should just be an animal. 6'7", 300 pounds. He should be murdering people.
But he is. Is he not?
He's not that consistent.
Consistent. His 2 best years, he had 12 sacks, and then what was it? 10 sacks? Or you got to factor in he's only played for 4 years, and 2 of those years were literally on god awful teams.
That doesn't matter. We've talked about that for everyone on this.
Yeah, but
I think one thing we can agree on is that Arik Armstead is highly benefited from the rest of that.
I agree. Well, here's the thing. All right, so going back to because the big move of Buckner was the trade.
Yeah.
I don't hate the Colts giving up a first-round pick for Buckner. He's easily the best player. Well, you can make an argument he's the best player on your team, depending on how you feel about Leonard. You got lucky that you
I
drafted.
think Darius Leonard's an animal. I think he's the best player on that
Well,
defense.
that's fine. But you're giving your defense some, like Darius Leonard and Buckner. You start with those two. That's a pretty good defense.
Mm-hmm.
Them declining Malik Hooker's 5th-round option, I don't know about that though.
He's still a good safety.
He's a very good safety. I don't know why you want to pick up his option, but hey,
maybe he'll make an appearance in the top 10. Who knows?
We'll see. But the thing is, like, there's only I think 3 players before Buckner that made over $20 million a year.
I didn't look at any of the contracts, so.
But just think, 3 top defenders in the league. Put it that way. No order. Khalil Mack, Von Miller, Aaron Donald.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Okay. So those all 3 of them make 20 million or over. They're the only defenders to do it. Mind you, we're still waiting on a contract for Jalen Ramsey, who I think could play his way into this too. Yeah.
That's why the Rams are letting everybody walk. The Rams need to sign him.
Well, I mean, after you give up fucking 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick, you better sign him.
That's what I was.
Listen, that team is a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it's kind of funny watching their power rankings.
They've paid the wrong people.
They're going all the way back.
Back to before we chop on the rest, but going back to it was like the thing is Buckner is not like that class. He's very good. He's the next class.
He could be,
but he's not.
He could be top.
No. I'm talking about like it's Miller, Donald, and Matt.
Oh yeah.
There's a drop off. Well, you could argue Ramsey in that 20 million range, but 20 million for a defender is a lot of fucking money.
I mean, we can talk corners. We'll talk corners another time, but you know how I love my D-backs.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you can throw Gilmore in there, but listen, Belichick's not giving him 20 million a year. I can guarantee that.
Oh no.
And there's probably no one that loves him more than Belichick.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that's really justified, I think, is Donald because of how much he brings to the table.
Von Miller won a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, Von Miller, pay him too, but
Khalil Mack. I mean, the problem with Khalil Mack is one. Remember they did the trade like 2 days after Donald signed his contract. So Donald was the highest paid in the NFL for like 2 days, and then Khalil Mack took it over.
Yeah.
This is the same problem with the Rams, is that they traded so much to get Ramsey to make, I don't know, a playoff push that they didn't even make to the playoffs. But now, like, dude, look at the Super Bowl. Your whole offense ran through your running game. Do you think that there's a coincidence that as soon as Todd Gurley fell apart, your team couldn't score anymore? Like, Sean McVay's offense runs off the running game. It's the running game, and then you run a whole bunch of zigs and zags, and Jared Goff just finds an open guy.
I mean, everyone loves those little gadget receivers the Rams have, but they don't have a guy, and they got rid of Cooks.
But to be fair, that's not the offense they play. They run an offense where McVay gives the ball 30 times to Todd Gurley to be amazing, and then you load the box with 8 guys, and then you have 3 wide receivers that are doing, they're doing the reverses, the motions. They're running around all over each other. They run play action. You don't know where anyone is. They run a play action. You all storm the line for Todd Gurley, and then Goff finds someone wide open.
Yeah, I mean, and their defense last year was basically the 2010 All-Stars, Weddle and Clay Matthews and like all these past their prime, really good players, but it's.
Clay Matthews, definitely passed on. I think Weddle. I thought Weddle was serviceable.
Yeah, I love Eric Weddle, but yeah.
But here's the other thing. So look at all the defense talent you let leave your building. Ndamukong Suh, going back to him.
Because they had to pay big boy Goff.
LaMarcus Joyner.
Oh, yeah.
Dante Fowler just left, who had an argument in the Defense Player of the Year last year when they went to the Super Bowl.
No. Dante Fowler from the Jags?
Yeah, the guy that was on the Rams. He had a great year when they went to the Super Bowl. He played well. Dude, I could play edge rusher with Donald and Suh in the middle.
Oh, well, yeah. I think he signed with the Falcons.
He did, yeah. This year he did. But, like, still, that was also a piece you traded to go get. Or maybe the Jaguars released him because he was a fucking lunatic.
No, the Jags traded him to the Rams.
That's another thing, is you went and traded to get this guy.
Yep.
Last year, 2019, he had 11.5 sacks. So you just lost an 11.5 sack artist that you traded to go get. You lost Suh. You lost Joyner. Weddle and Matthews are leaving this season. And now what do you have for it? Jalen Ramsey, who's going to make probably $21 to $22 million a year, who you also gave up 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick for?
They're going to become the West Coast Jags.
half of their cap space is going to be Jalen Ramsey and Jared Goff.
Yep.
It's just idiotic. They built that team so poorly.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened to them, but
They rely on running the ball, and then, well, I didn't even touch on it. They lost Roger Saffold and they lost Havenstein off that Super Bowl team.
yeah,
And their best offensive lineman is still a 39-year-old Andrew Whitworth or whatever
yeah,
the
I was gonna
hell
say
he is.
Whitworth. Yeah,
But you know, if your offense relied on running the ball, I would keep my offensive line pretty amazing, and I would make sure I have a star running back.
and that's the bottom line. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate your draft or your choices. I
no,
hate mine because I forgot Chris Jones.
I think I mean, assuming we agree on, Chris Jones at 3,
Yeah,
Fletcher
I would
Cox
agree
at
with that.
2, and Donald at 1. So, I mean, that's
Yeah,
what
that was the
I had Donald and Fletch, right away. I just penciled them
I
in.
do, but I put Buckner on that level too. I think Buckner's right
I
there.
think that's fair. I will.
I don't think Buckner's too far behind Chris Jones, or I think they're very similar.
It will be interesting to see how he plays in Indy. So that'll be a good test to see if he's really.
I think he'll be okay. To be honest, I do think he'll be okay. I do think he's a very good player.
Okay.
I mean, he
Now,
reminds me of Chris Jones. They're both huge. Chris Jones is 6'6".
yeah. Now I will say I'm much more. I think I like my D tackle list better than my DN list. So
See, and we'll see about this. This is
we'll
where
see.
my DN list is lots of crosses and arrows and all this.
Yeah. All right. So let's. You can start number 10,
All
defensive
right,
end.
number 10. So I'm gonna give you more than what you asked for because that's what kind of person I am.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm giving you my number 10, which is a potential Eagles player, which I still see it happening.
I think
I'm
I have
not,
the same. I think I
I'm
have the same
not
number
giving
10.
up a first round pick for him. Not giving up a first round pick, but I'll do it for a second. Is Yannick.
He's also my number 10.
See, Yannick, and we were talking about this. Yannick, I'm not giving up a first round pick. I don't care if he's 25 and a Pro Bowler. Like the Jaguars, we're getting rid of players.
I will give you Derek Barnett in a second for Yannick.
I personally don't want to give you Derek Barnett, but if that gets the deal done, sure.
I still
like
love
having
Derek.
some
I
depth.
think Derek Barnett's still he's solid.
I have no problem with him. I mean, he has disappointed since the Super Bowl coverage, but he's gotten by because he's a number 2 D end. If he had to be a number 1, then
funny enough,
we'll see.
When I was looking through information on DNs and various lists and opinions, he was actually in like most top 20, lists. So
I don't hate him. Yannick's a better player. There's no way that I don't understand what the Jaguars
his sack numbers are already crazy for being in the league so few years, but
I agree. But the thing with the Jaguars, I don't get. This guy literally came out and said, "I'm not signing the franchise tag."
I don't know what they're doing down there.
He argued with the owner's son.
Yeah.
You got rid of everyone else except the guy that publicly demanded to be released or traded. It doesn't I would AJ Bowie and Calais Campbell weren't throwing hissy fits. What happened?
I don't know what the hell is going on in Jacksonville.
Listen, Tom Coughlin's not for everyone, I guess. You even see Talvin Smith got arrested.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Jaguars aren't for anyone. It was
just letting people run wild.
It's just I don't get them. I would not give up. I would be pissed if the Eagles were to give up a first round pick for Yannick.
So speaking of the Eagles, this I was trying to not let my fandom get in the way. But number 9, I have DeMarcus Lawrence.
Okay, so I have Lawrence as an outside linebacker.
Interesting.
They run a 3-4. I see him more as an outside linebacker.
See, this is my problem.
Tyrone Crawford and David Irving are like the DNs in that.
Yeah. Deal. Okay. Because
that's the way I looked at it.
That's fair. I had 1 to 10, except for number 9, and I was like, DeMarcus Lawrence, is he outside back or DN? And I just threw him in there. So
I had him as outside linebacker. I'll let you keep it, but
this is why it's tricky because it's
listen, sticking to me being generous and giving the people more than what they want.
Okay,
I told you 10
Chris
was
Jones.
Yeah, 10 was Yannick. I actually, because I missed around my list and moved people out. I had my runner-ups 11 and 12.
You had runner-ups.
11 was Calais Campbell and 12 was D Ford.
Interesting.
First off, I will go out of the way and say I'm not a D Ford fan. I think he's incredibly overrated. I'm pissed because I think he cost Andy Reid his first Super Bowl. And we were robbed of a Kansas City Chiefs Rams Super Bowl. So fuck D Ford.
I thought I had D Ford as an outside, like 10-11, and then I thought he was more of an outside backer, so I took him off.
Fair enough. I mean, he definitely played DN with the Niners.
Yeah.
But I mean, fun fact: they both had 6.5 sacks last year.
Who'd you have? You had who at 9?
9, I went with a name, but a productive guy that's still productive. Actually had a great year last year, even if no one showed up to watch him, which is Melvin Ingram.
Melvin Ingram. So I see we're gonna have this discussion. I thought he was an outside backer
Melvin Ingram? No way. Him and Bosa.
from the
They're
Chargers.
bookends. Yeah, they're bookends. Him and Bosa.
Did they switch? He was an outside backer at one point.
I just always look at him and Bosa as the bookend DNs.
All right. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna take out DeMarcus Lawrence. And I'm gonna put Melvin Ingram because if that's what we're going with, then
I personally put him as a D end. I believe the Chargers run a 4-3. I think I'm pretty positive about that.
Okay.
Where DeMarcus Lawrence, they run a 3-4. That's the main thing.
We're really showing our football knowledge here.
I forgot Chris Jones, and he won a Super Bowl. So I don't have much knowledge to show. But hey, the guy had 7 sacks the last 2 years. Actually, fun fact is he had 7 sacks each of the last 2 years and an interception each of the last 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So he's steady. Gives you what you want. 7 sacks and interception. Deal.
Damn.
Who did you have at 9?
Well, Melvin Ingram now.
Oh, okay. Good choice.
Number 8. This is where it's going to get a little interesting. I had Carlos Dunlap, seasoned veteran.
I don't know about that.
He's still good.
I should have touched my toes before this if I knew we were going to stretch this much.
You didn't have him in your top 10?
He's not in my top 10. No, I didn't even think about putting him in my top 10, to be honest with you.
That's unfortunate.
So number 8 is a personal favorite of mine. I think he is a very underrated player. I've always thought he was an underrated player.
Don't say Brandon Graham.
No, since his time with Seattle.
Clowney?
I went with Frank Clark.
Frank Clark.
Guys, I thought when he was on the Seahawks, he was incredibly underrated. The fact that Andy Reid managed to pay basically in 2 different deals, trade away the bust of a first-round pick who had 1 good year and then cost you your Super Bowl in D Ford to then go acquire Frank Clark, who went on to line up on sides during the AFC Championship game and win a Super Bowl. Incredible trade. I think Frank Clark.
He's a D end. He's in the ground.
Yeah, he's the guy on the. I mean, that's the way I look at him.
That's what it's so
he's pretty DN though, because he was a DN with Seattle too.
Fair enough.
He's not much of he's not covering guys. But I mean, with Seattle, he had 13 sacks, that's when I first found him. I mean, he's been in the league since 15, but he's kind of bounced around. Although low key, 2016 he had 10 sacks, 17 he had 9, 18 he had 13 with Seattle.
That's still good numbers.
I guarantee, but you never heard his name. That's I feel he slept on.
No, he was pretty playoffs. He had a good playoff.
You better see him and this is why it's funny that they were almost traded for each other. Is I think they're completely different.
Who?
D Ford was drafted 1st overall. Frank Clark, I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, they were traded for each other, weren't they? Or no. KC traded D Ford to San Fran and then got Seattle. Yeah,
they used the pick that they got, but look at it. D Ford 1st round pick. Frank Clark 2nd. Not big of a difference. But D Ford, 1st round pick, you have expectations. Remember, he got drafted to the team that had Tamba Hali and Justin Houston. So he was supposed to be the next guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was terrible in Kansas City. I thought he had 1 good year. The 1 good year being the year that Patrick Mahomes was quarterback. So when the opposing teams were down by 4 touchdowns every game, he just teed off and rushed the passer. Him alone, honestly, the offsides in the AFC Championship game alone I would have traded him off my team. I'm not even kidding. That was so egregious, and it literally cost you the game. The fact that was an interception, it cost you the game. You would have been – Andy Reid would have had a Super Bowl because you went and played the booty-ass Rams who got lucky that the refs suck more than they do in their championship game.
Wow, I forgot. So, yeah, that series so that should have been KC and Saints.
So, then there was no way that
that would have been a crazy Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. D Ford robbed not even Andy Reid and the Chiefs, but he robbed America. Instead, we got 3-9 or whatever the hell the Super Bowl was when the Patriots played the Rams. Yeah,
and then the Packers and Bears started the season off 10-3 too. So
it's just I don't. I'm personally a fan of Frank Clark, but you seem to be personally a fan of Carlos Dunlap. He didn't even sniff my top 10, but I'm sure you have a reason for it.
I mean, I thought, I wasn't keeping track with him, but I still knew the name like you had with your D tackles. And then I looked him up. Still has good numbers. I mean, his PFF is 89.7. That's still crazy
So where does he rank in PFF for his position? He had 9 sacks last year. That's not bad.
Or no, maybe his wasn't 89.7. That can't be right. Hold on. I think I mixed it up with somebody else.
He had the most tackles of his career. Well, second most tackles of his career last year. He had 9 sacks. I mean, it's not bad.
He had – oh, no, he did. 89.7. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty – that's like top 5 PFF.
See, my thing is –
higher than Watt.
Well, we'll get to.
I mean, that's why
I do have a segment. He's in my top 10. I don't feel good about it. He's in there by name only. I haven't seen much in a while.
That's I kind of we'll talk about that. But
yeah, no, he's in my top 5. I think he's a little higher than I like, but off his name alone, I have to.
All right, so that was 8. I had Dunlap. You had Frank Clark. Who did you have?
Oh, here. I want to point one thing out.
Okay.
So if I told you have an option between a player with 9 sacks and 75 tackles, and you're the worst team in football, or 8 sacks and 42 tackles, and you're the best team in football, their numbers aren't that far off, but you have to factor in that the one was literally the worst team in the league and the other was the best team in the league. Frank
Clark and Dunlap?
Yeah. And the fact that Frank Clark proved to be the one immeasurable thing, because you switched out DeFord, who cost you a Super Bowl, to get Frank Clark, who was probably the 3rd best player on your team, but the top 3 were head and shoulders better than anyone else in that defense. You had Matthew, Chris Jones, and Frank Clark, and then everyone else there was scrubs, to say the least.
I think Frank Clark's a good player. I don't think he would be great if he was the best player on this team.
I disagree, because I think he proved that when he was in Seattle. He was on those post-Legion of Boom teams when they were rebuilding, and he put up some good numbers. While he never got the respect, he didn't. I think he is I've always been a guy who thought he was incredibly underrated.
Interesting, but you would still train him away for the 4th.
No, wait. I didn't say I was trading him away.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Who'd you have at 7?
I said that trading DeFord for him was an incredible move, and they won a Super Bowl, so someone was listening.
No. Yeah, you might need another can after that, buddy.
Yeah. All right, 4. No. 7.
Oh, we're skipping way too far.
7. I have, and this guy's weird. He's a weird guy. I can't say that I know a lot about him. I just know that he's always popping up, and then I looked at his research and was like, damn, I got to put him up there. I put him at 7 is Danielle Hunter.
Interesting.
He's a weird player.
He's good. I don't know what you're saying.
Last year he was a first-team All-Pro, and he had 14.5 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
If I just told you, name me the DN that had 14.5 sacks, was first-team All-Pro, I guarantee you would have named 30 before Danielle Hunter.
Probably, but he's 2015 draft.
He's good. I mean, he's definitely good.
I mean, who was Everson Griffin used to be the Vikings' best DN, but he's
I do think that they played their entire career together. Everson Griffin's still a free agent, but they've played their entire career together.
Oh, he's a free agent now.
Yeah, that helps.
He's a little.
But
yeah,
Danielle
he's like
Hunter,
32.
man, this is the 2nd year in a row having 14.5 sacks, and that I couldn't ignore.
I mean, yeah. I'm looking at now 6, 12.5, 7, 14.5, 14.5.
He had 80 tackles and 14.5 sacks back-to-back years. That's pretty good.
Bro, I'm looking at his 2019 numbers. They're really good. 70 combined tackles.
Yeah.
22 QB hits.
But look at his 2018. They're like the same exact freaking thing.
No, yeah. Yes.
So I mean,
it's consistent.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I had him in my list.
He's one that if we talked about top DNs, he's not the name that's popping in my head, but he should.
He will be. I think in a year or two he'll be.
Yeah, you get more used to it.
So this is where I have a problem with you. Number 7, I had Calais Campbell, because if you don't have him in your top 10, you're an idiot. He's still a monster.
I mean, I listen. I looked at the numbers. 6.5 sacks.
This is the one guy where the numbers are not. This is.
Hey, listen, I get that, but you got.
He's a leader. He's
a leader for one of the worst teams in football.
It doesn't matter.
A leader with with the team that has the most problems in football.
That's because they trade him away. It's not his problem no more.
What kind of leader is it? What leader is a leader when his whole entire team, the people that follow behind him, are all gone?
It's because it's the off season. They don't care.
Listen. I like Calais. I do. He's on the back nine. We all know that.
No,
I could not put him in the top 10 because he's on the back nine.
He had one of the highest PFF grades this year, 90.3.
So he's still in the back nine.
Again, I'm not always in agreement with Pro Football Focus, but
he probably had he probably had a good year, but
let me look at his stats.
His defense non-believer. Listen, before the Jaguars decimated their team, you got to factor in he played this season with Yannick NGAKOUE on the other side, Jalen Ramsey and AJ Bowie in the secondary. Jalen Ramsey for half the year, but he was still there for a little bit. Miles Jack was there. It wasn't an awful defense. Now it sucks because you gave away the entire team, but there were some players there.
So he's played 160 or 180 games, 88 sacks. Pretty good.
Listen, his numbers are fine. His career numbers are fine. Don't have to tell me his career numbers. I'm not arguing that. I think right now, Calais Campbell is a top 10 D tackle if we went a year or two back. Right now, I don't have him in the top 10.
2017, he had 30 QB hits, 14 and a half sacks.
That's 3 years ago. Listen, I didn't have a college degree, and I was a lot better looking than 2017. Now look at me. I'm unemployed and, hairy.
It's besides the point. You're sleeping on Calais Campbell. He's still good.
I'm not. Listen, you're putting name up there.
That's what you did for D tackle.
And I admitted that was a mistake. I forgot Chris Jones, so clearly it was a mistake.
All right.
Look at the people I have in front of him. Yannick, who is the 25-year-old teammate of him, who's getting better. Melvin Ingram, who I actually think has a better career in the last 5 years than Calais Campbell, and then Frank Clark, who has been an incredibly underrated player who just won a Super Bowl. And then you have Daniel Hunter with his fucking 29 sacks in the last 2 years. Listen, Calais, I'm fine with. All right. Listen, he was there. I had him. He's number 11. I had him at 10, but I had to bump him out.
Interestingly enough, I had Daniel Hunter at 16. Or at 6, I mean.
Hunter at 6. Okay. I mean, no arguments there.
Yeah.
Literally where I had him. 6, I had Cameron Jordan.
Okay. So we're starting to get in line here because I
don't think we're going to be – well, let's put it this way. Do you have 2 pairs of brothers in your top 5?
I have 2 pairs of brothers in my top 5, yeah.
I think we have the same exact 5 because I have 2 pairs of brothers, and I almost guarantee you we have the same other non-brother, but he is a brother.
Two pairs of brothers. No, I do not because I believe TJ Watt is outside backer.
I put him as a D end.
So yeah, I have him as an outside backer. So he's not in.
Fine. Then fine. You know what? I'll take TJ Watt off my list, and I'll bump everyone up, and Calais can be number 10.
Because I wasn't sure. I looked it up, and he's listed as an outside backer. So
fine. All right, then not to ruin any. I had him as my number 2 overall D end.
Is he better than his brother?
I don't want to ruin the surprise.
All right, so
all right. Now that we've adjusted,
number 6. Who's your number 6?
Listen, we're very professional here. So not only did I forget Chris Jones, but my second-rated D end isn't actually a D end. So I bumped up Calais Campbell to number 10, and everyone moved a spot. I don't know if I'm much of an expert, but
this is D end outside linebacker is very,
very, very tough.
Yeah,
at least when we do outside linebacker, it'll be easy because then we'll just know who's left over. Yeah. I actually think these are the 2 hardest positions to start with.
Oh, that, and then I think guard and tackle will be interesting.
That'll be challenging, but I think this one's harder because of the mix and mingling. Jason Peters not an offense guard. Yeah. So
to go off your 6, I had Cam.
What do you think about Cameron Jordan?
I have Cam Jordan at 5.
Okay. I've personally never been a fan of him. I agree with you. I thought he was a bust until the when was it? I would say the 2017 season. The year the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I thought I thought that was when I was like, damn, Cameron Jordan's pretty fucking good. That Saints team was loaded. I remember actually saying, I don't want to play the Saints in the playoffs. That was the team I didn't think we were going to beat. I thought they were – I honestly, I think that first year, the Miracle in the Minneapolis was the best Saints team I've seen in the last 3 years.
I don't know. The Saints team they have right now is pretty damn good.
I something about it, man. You got Lattimore and Kamara who are rookies, and I
Yeah.
get like you get better, but at the same time, a player like Kamara, where you haven't seen him before, it's better to have the advantage of the defense coordinators not knowing who this guy is than it is for Kamara to have a couple of years of experience. Lattimore, sure, I can argue, has probably got better. But that was the first year where I put Cam Jordan on the map. I was like, damn, he was the number one guy on that defense.
I think that's around the same time I started appreciating him more. I have him at 5 for a reason. I think unquestionably he is super talented and really good. I just don't like him as a player. Like, he's so cocky, and that Saints team, for as good as they are, they haven't done shit, honestly.
They haven't done
so nothing. He just talks a lot, and I don't know.
I won't.
If he was on my team, I would probably love him.
Yeah, there's a lot of football players that talk a lot.
Yeah.
The other thing is I'll give him is, you remember when the Saints had historically awful defenses?
Mm-hmm.
Like Drew Brees throwing for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns a year, and he was 7 or 7-9. And like the problem was Cam Jordan was a first-round pick, and he was on those teams, and they sucked ass. And then eventually they got some players around him to make it better. So I know it's not his fault, but that I think it also hurts him, as he was a first-round pick on god-awful, historically awful defenses.
He was a first-round pick?
He was a first-round pick, yeah.
Where did he go?
He was at Cal. It was late. The Saints were trading late. You know what? You got me on top of my head. I don't remember what. I want to say he might have been 2010.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. Cameron Jordan. 2011 from Cal Bears. 24th overall. I mean, he's got 5-time Pro Bowler.
He's got it. Ever since, literally, it was after that year. After the year, he solidified himself as an elite guy. And he kept on doing it. He had 15 and a half sacks last year. I was surprised by that.
144 games, 87 sacks. I mean,
15 and a half last year. 15 and a half is a good amount. That's a sack a game.
He's averaging between 20 and like 28 QB hits every year too.
See, the problem with him is, he was a first-team All-Pro. So when I say problem for him,
that was 2017.
No, he was first-team All-Pro last year.
No, he's only got one All-Pro. 2017.
He was definitely first-team All-Pro.
He made Pro Bowl last year. He's made Pro Bowl the last 3 years, but 2017 was his All-Pro year. Unless this isn't fully updated, but I would assume it is.
I was definitely looking at this, and if you look at the Wikipedia, which is a very
why would you look at Wikipedia?
Because I like using Wikipedia; it's easy. There was 5 edge rushers named to the first-team All-Pro team. Who do you have on your All-Pro team that Wikipedia doesn't have?
I don't know. There's just an asterisk on 2017 that says that's when he was on the All-Pro.
Oh, because you're using reference?
Pro Football Reference, yeah.
Oh, then you know what? Oh, I know it. Okay. He was second team All-Pro.
There you go. I mean, it's still great.
Yeah. Wikipedia, puts them in weird ways.
Classic Wikipedia.
So
I had Cam Jordan at 5. You had him at 6. Who did you have at 5?
This is where we get the first of the brothers.
Oh, interesting.
I put Joey Bosa here.
Okay.
And he had a great rookie year. I haven't seen it since. I mean, it's only been in the league for 3 years?
Yeah.
He's hurt the 1 year. Well, he's always has those stupid foot injuries.
Yeah, he's I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but
I don't know. He was good the 1 year, and then not even him, but the team has been bad after that. Everyone except listen, he's still an elite player. He had 11 and a half sacks last year. I can't kill him that. He's had double-digit sacks 3 of the 4 years he's been in the league. But at the same time, I just, I look at the success of the team as well.
Fair enough. Yeah, this is interesting. The last few picks we've been flip-flopping. So at 4, I have Joey Bosa.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think like you said, he's kind of – I mean, he's had his injuries. That's always a concern, but he's definitely fallen off a little bit. I mean, but he's still a top 5 DN.
To be fair, I think every player on the Chargers has disappointed me in one way or another just because I thought they were much better than they were. But clearly – although I'll tell you this. I don't know what the Colts were thinking last year I said Phillip Rivers is a year away from being Eli. Like this year, he's going to be Eli Manning. I saw him last year. He was so bad.
He
like
was rough.
he was the problem. That team wasn't that bad. Once they got Derwin James back and the defense was back on schedule, and they got Melvin Gordon back and didn't have to deal with that anymore, he was the problem. Like that, they brought back the team was loaded. He was the problem.
I think if that team doesn't go semi deep in the playoffs, I think Anthony Lynn gets fired because they are so talented on defense. They're pretty good on offense. I love Tyrod Taylor. I think he'll do a good job.
Don't give me that. Nonsense.
I think he'll do fine. He'll do a serviceable. How many times do we see serviceable? Look at Ryan Tannehill.
Justin Herbert is starting by week 3.
No, he's not.
Yes,
Ryan Tannehill got the Titans to an AFC Championship game.
Listen, here's
Tyrod Taylor's just as good as Tannehill.
Here's the thing. I get it. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, all these quarterbacks that sit for a year and then play really well. Justin Herbert is not that quarterback. Justin Herbert would have been the first overall pick last year if he decided to come out.
No.
He stayed for his senior year, and he came out and was a 6th overall pick. Justin Herbert has nothing else to learn. He's a 4-year college starter. He was a top 5 pick last year if he came out. There's no reason to bench him. Tyrod Taylor at 31 does not excite me. There's no reason to have him in front of him. Herbert starts week 3. Where Herbert starts week 1.
I could see Herbert coming in like week 9, week 8.
Wait, what? What do you mean? What? No. Herbert starts week 1.
I don't like throwing rookie QBs into the fire. I'd rather have them sit.
That's how you learn. That's how you learn. Unless you're listen, you look at I wasn't in on the NFL when Aaron Rodgers came in, but look at Pat Mahomes. Everyone said just similar things like Jordan Love. He has the tools. He's not polished. He was in an air raid offense. He doesn't know how to read offense. He played every snap in the shotgun.
And Mahomes sat for a year behind.
Well, his coach was also arguably the greatest quarterback coach in NFL history.
Yeah.
So sitting behind the quarterback in a meetings, holding the clipboard and standing behind Andy on the sidelines is different to Justin Herbert standing behind Anthony Lynn and holding the clipboard for Anthony Lynn in meetings and stuff. Anthony Lynn is not a quarterback guy.
We'll see.
I think Herbert's starting as soon as there. But number 4 for me, and this is the one that I didn't really like that much, but I put him there off name, is J.J. Watt.
Interesting.
You know what? You got to put him in there. As long as he's still suiting up. He's got 3 defensive players, too many all-pros. He has 20 sack seasons more than – you know what? I'm making this – well, if you take Aaron Donald out of the NFL, I think J.J. Watt has more 20 sack seasons than the entire NFL does.
Let's see.
If you take Aaron Donald out, because I can't name another 20 sack artist.
I mean, he has 2 – 2012 and 2014, he had 20 and a half sacks.
Yeah, I honestly don't think there's another player besides Aaron Donald that has had 20 sacks in a season. And he did twice.
Yeah, this is where his stats get wonky because
Hold on. I gotta take a pre-break. Give me 20 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
All right, we back.
I'm so glad I got to hear you piss.
The bathroom in the room. It comes in handy.
I lost my train of thought. What we were talking about? Oh,
J.J. Watt. Yeah,
J.J. Watt.
At the same time, I know he's basically broken in half. But at the same time, and this comes down to what I would think about Gronk. Gronk took a year off, and he's broken in half. If Gronk puts shoulder pads on this year, he's a top 5 tight end. I think if J.J. Watt –
that's interesting.
I think J.J. Watt plays and he's on the field. I really have to argue myself to say he's not a top 5 DN. He's done stuff as a DN that I've never seen before. Let's
just put this into perspective. So besides his rookie year, he's had over 10 sacks every time he's played a full season.
Yeah,
that in itself is incredible.
He's an amazing player.
So, but here's where it's tough because 2016, 2017, he played a combined 8 games. Yeah. Had 1 sack.
Yeah.
2018, played a full season, 16 sacks, monster. And then last year he missed half the season, only had 4 sacks. that team was in a little rough spot though. So,
Listen.
but he came back and he wasn't even supposed to play that year. So the fact that he got back, as fast as he did.
I mean, look at the main thing is the one to look at is 2018. So the first 4 years, or no, I'm sorry, the first 5 years he plays 16 games each year.
Mm-hmm.
Then he plays 3 and 5 in 16 and 17. Then that next year he comes back, plays 16, has 16 sacks, and he's a fucking all-pro. Like, the guy missed 2 years and he came back and didn't even skip a beat. My thing with him is if he's playing, I have to put him as a top 5 DN because he is. If he's healthy, his body's falling apart, and I'd hate to give it to a guy that only played, 6 games last year, but I can't possibly justify putting him any lower.
Fair enough.
All right, number 3.
So, number 3, I have Myles Garrett.
Interesting.
You take away that whole helmet, situation.
Okay.
He's just there's a reason he was taken so high in the draft. He unquestionable talent. He's like ripped. He's like the Aaron Donald at defensive end.
Hey, listen, you're not getting any argument here because you're going to hear his name soon in my list.
Okay, all right. I'm just because I couldn't tell if you somehow left him off or what.
I was actually surprised by 3. I thought 3 was you'll hear why.
I switched. I had him at 1 at one point, and then I switched it around. And
all right, well, because of the TJ Watt thing, JJ Watt was my number 3 because we took him off because I had TJ as number 2.
You had JJ at 4 though.
Yeah, well, that was with TJ Watt. So Calais Campbell got bumped up to 10. So JJ Watt went up 1 spot.
So JJ Watt at 4. Who's at 3?
This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. Well,
JJ Watt was 3. It is 3 because Calais Campbell was off the rankings. Now he's 10 because I took the number 2 player off.
So who's number 4?
See, you're
now you're confused.
Number 4 was Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa. Okay, I understand now.
My numbers are off by a little bit because basically what we would do is get to number 2 and I wouldn't have one because that was TJ Watt.
I see.
That's right. I'm glad this is like the tryout. We're going to, we'll clean this up the next time. Maybe this isn't the podcast we start with.
No, we can still start with this one.
Well, I forgot a Super Bowl champion in my D-tackle ranking, so,
It happens to the best of us.
That's true. Yeah, not all of us. I never see Adam Schefter making that mistake.
Who did you have at 8?
8. So my new rankings would be Melvin Ingram. So everyone got bumped up.
Ingram and then Clark at 7 and Cam
Hunter.
Jordan at 6 or
No, Hunter then Cam Jordan.
Hunter, Cam Jordan, Bosa, JJ Watt.
Yeah.
Okay, so
number 10 was Calais then because I took TJ off.
All right. So who's your number 2?
I've got he's a young guy, but I'm a huge fan of his. It's Nick Bosa.
I also had Nick Bosa at number 2.
I was like, you know what? I thought about it. I was like, is it an argument that I put him above JJ Watt and Joey? And to be honest, we talked about Buckner, and that's why I actually thought I saved this till we got to Nick Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
Buckner was the leader of that defense, and I do say he was the best player on that defense. But I'll give him the best player. I'll give him the best player for right now. I thought every week that went by, Bosa caught up to him. He was catching up to him. I gave Buckner the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, I had Buckner number 3 on my D tackles, so obviously, I think highly of him. But if you look at it, look at the Niners team last year. Nick Mullen, remember? Being you. Do you remember being at Applebee's? We were watching the John Gruden Raiders go 4-12, play the San Francisco Niners with Nick Mullins on Thursday Night Football.
Wow.
National television game. You had a 2-14 team versus a 4-12 team.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive is the correct answer. But if you factor in, obviously, I don't think very highly of D Ford. So they brought in D Ford, and you brought in Nick Bosa. Suddenly, this is the best defense in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, their main woes the year before was Jimmy Garoppolo getting hurt, which is one thing. But, man, I obviously, I don't like D Ford that much. I think Nick Bosa had more to do with that defensive turnaround than D Ford did. I think he was an absolute animal. I think he's only going to get better. I would not be surprised if he wins Defense Player of the Year this year.
Yeah. So my logic here between so 2 and 3 was Bosa or Garrett, and I agree with you. I think Nick Bosa is already better than Joey.
Yeah.
And the reason I put him ahead of Garrett is because I've never even Garrett had a good rookie year, but like Nick Bosa, like every game was like you're like, wow, holy shit, this guy's incredible. Like yeah, like he's quick, he's strong, like he beats up seasoned veterans. Like I just
see, this is going back to the Buckner thing. This is where I think this is where the Niners trading away Buckner for a first round pick makes sense. Well, you know, I'd hate to see him go. He's an incredible player. But now your starting defensive line is D Ford, Nick Bosa on the edges, and then Armstead and Solomon Thomas in the middle.
Yeah.
That is an entire defensive line made of first-round picks.
Yeah, I mean, and
you have all
Bosa makes Thomas and Armstead better, too.
Oh, yeah. I think, well, here, Solomon Thomas obviously been a huge bust. If he wants to make anything from his career, if he wants to make anything from his career, this is the year. I get it. You can make an argument. He was probably better on the inside, but you had Buckner and Armstead in front of him, so he didn't get that many minutes.
Yeah.
But now that Buckner's gone, Thomas better put his shit together. Otherwise, he's probably out of the NFL in 2 years.
I don't know about out of the NFL, but he's not going to be a starter anymore.
Listen, if you can't be a good defensive lineman on the defensive line that the Niners had, like shit, I could probably get 3 sacks if I had Nick Bosa, D Ford, DeForest Buckner lined up next to me.
I could too.
Yeah, I was like, I think anyone could.
You just gotta pick me up and throw me over the line.
Exactly. I'll just jump on a quarterback until Buckner shows up or Bosa shows up. You know, eventually one of them's gonna get there.
I mean, hey, I played D-line in 9th grade.
Hey, those 110 lightweights, right?
That was middle school, but yeah, I played D-tackle in middle school.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on me.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, so number 2 is Bosa. My number 1 is actually the helmet striker himself. I pretty much agree with everything you said. I think Myles Garrett's an incredible player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is Jadeveon Clowney with a work ethic.
I think he's Jadeveon Clowney, but smart.
Well, smart and with a work ethic. Like that's how I viewed him coming out of the draft. This guy was no nonsense. I was actually very surprised. I remember watching that Thursday night game live when he struck Mason Rudolph. Very surprised that happened. He just never seemed like that kind of player to me.
Yeah, we don't have to get into it, but it was – I defended him as, like, most as I could, you know, beyond the fact that he shouldn't have spun his helmet.
Yeah, no, I mean –
but,
that's like defending Ted Bundy was a really good guy. He was a gentleman on all the first dates. It was the second dates that went wrong. You can't hold him over that.
The thing is, Mason Rudolph's a punk, and he's terrible. He's a trash quarterback.
Wouldn't argue there.
The problem is you put your hands in someone else's helmet like that, you're gonna start a fight, and not to mention that, you know, swinging the helmet.
A fight is one thing. A fight is one thing.
He could have killed Rudolph. I'll give it that.
He could have easily killed Rudolph.
But you know, Rudolph initiated it. So
yeah, I agree.
And also, his line came and was beating him up like it was a street gang fight. Like he had Pouncey stomping on him. Like,
whoa! That was after he swung the helmet, and he deserved that.
Stomping on someone's head? No, you don't deserve that.
When you swing a helmet at my quarterback, who at this point could be dead, listen. Once you swing at a helmet at some guy, all the rules are out the window.
That's why that's why it's all
a WWE match. When they whip out the chair and the one guy gets DQ'd, then everything goes out the window. Listen,
this isn't Hell in a Cell. This is real life.
How do you justify it? Now you're at the point where
I'm not justifying this.
I'm going to justify stomping or I'm swinging at a helmet at one guy because the other guy stomped on his head. Well, I'm going to justify the guy stomped on his head because the other guy swung a helmet at him.
They should have been separated. It shouldn't. The players should have just gotten everyone out of the way, not continue to aggravate the situation. But
see, the thing is, no one knew that was going to happen. No one has ever seen that happen.
Obviously,
I can't hold Pouncey accountable. If I saw my quarterback get almost, brain damaged, the guy that I protect get brain damage, arguably, if you're swinging a big guy like that swinging a helmet at your bare head, I'm going to probably lose my shit too.
All right. Well, if I was Pouncey, I would have Garrett was on the floor. I would have just put my knee into his back, made sure he couldn't get up. I wouldn't fucking stomp on him. But like I said, we're getting off topic now.
Listen, I'll end it with this. You step on a head, it's a scumbag, dirty move. Swinging a helmet at another person is a scumbag, dirty move.
This is true.
Hey,
yeah.
don't get me wrong.
To all scums is to all.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't think what Cass did was right, but I think it was justified because of what happened before.
There was nothing right in that whole situation. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, he's my number one DN. I think the guy's an absolute fucking beast.
So
I think that even on some shitty teams, he's been amazing.
Yeah, I love Garrett.
I know how this worked out. I don't know, really.
But my number one is JJ Watt. You made the example. You said if healthy, he's a top DN. If healthy, he's the best DN in football. Yeah. I mean, he commands double teams. He still gets by them. He still disrupts it. He can play the run, rush. He can even drop back and play linebacker.
Oh, well, I don't know if J.J. Watt's out there covering anyone.
Maybe not as much now. But
the guy's got a surgery-repaired arm, knee, and back.
He's all bionic now, but he's still a monster. I have to have him at number one.
Listen, I
had Bosa at number one at one point in this too.
Joey or Nick?
Nick.
Yeah, he was actually honestly, he was number one. I didn't even have Myles Garrett on my list. Completely forgot about him.
I started out with Garrett, and then I put Bosa. And then I was like, no, that's disrespectful to J.J. Watt. Then I put Watt, and then it was Garrett Bosa, and I flipped those two.
See, the way I look at it, the way I had it was obviously I had the two pairs of brothers. And I had I thought Nick was better than Joey, so Joey got bumped down. I thought J.J. is just hurt too much that I bumped him down too. And I think he's getting a little bit of by legacy. Granted, he deserves it. I had, Nick, I think is a stud. I had him high. TJ Watt, I had number two, as you know. I think he's an absolute just maniac. I think he's an incredible player. I think the Steelers' turnaround was half trading for Minka Fitzpatrick, half TJ Watt figuring out how to play in the NFL.
Fair enough.
But number one, I just think Myles Garrett is a game wreck. Plus, you know what? The thing Garrett has is he's a great run defender.
Yeah.
Because he's so big.
But he's big, strong, and fast. Like that's
what
I see with Bosa too. So that's why I think
but the thing is, Joey, I've never seen the run defense.
No, Nick,
I've seen it. Yeah, Nick. I couldn't put Nick in number one. That'd be disrespectful to the other ones, considering he's only been there for a year and he played on the best defensive line in football.
Who knows? That could have been a fluke for all we know. But I doubt
that is true.
I just think
I mean. It's very rarely where you get drafted in a position in the top 5 where you're getting drafted to the best position group in the NFL. Like you're usually not the number one drafted defensive lineman in the draft and then get drafted to the best defensive line in football. That's usually not how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Niners have been drafting D lines for like past 5 years in a row. So
listen, I mean, they struck out completely on Thomas, so you might as well hit a grand slam on both.
Armstead's still up in the air too.
I mean, listen, I don't know if you want to say he's up in the air now. He just signed a huge deal. He's getting $15 million a year.
I would get $15 million a year playing on that line.
Well, that was the one thing I didn't like about the Buckner thing is I get it. The first round pick was a good coup. I wasn't going to pay him that money. I don't think the Niners are going to do it either. But why did you have to go give Armstead $15 million a year on a 5-year deal?
I would have rather paid Buckner and traded.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is I just feel like you waste that money. I don't see Eric Armstead as a $15 million a year, 5-year contract guy.
It's because he's not.
He's not.
There might be some kind of option in there. I could see it like a 2-year.
I mean, sure, but 5-year deal, you're saying at least 3 of those are guaranteed. So you're locked into say $45 million over the next 3 guaranteed.
Yeah.
No, I don't just sign it right now. Like I don't know. I don't think Armstead would have got that money on a different team. Like if he went to free agency, I don't think he would have sniffed that money.
Well, I don't know. NFL teams they like to go with who's trendy, so you never know.
$15 million a year? That's a fucking lot of money for the guy that was a backup D end.
I was gonna say I don't think D lines make unless you're like the top of your spot, you're not making.
Well, that was my problem with Buckner in the first place. Is that $20 million a year is for game-changing defenders. Nothing against Buckner, but as an interior defender, unless you're Aaron Donald having 20 sacks a game or 20 sacks a season, you're not a game-changing defender. Von Miller and Khalil Mack, game-changing defenders. You could make an argument for Ramsey. I think Ramsey had more of an argument than Buckner to get that $20 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, the Rams are fucked. That's all you know is if Buckner got $20 million a year, just open up the Brinks trucks on Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. I think it's funny, though, how we had quite a bit of debate in our top 3 here of DNs But our D tackles, we really didn't even talk about Fletcher Cox or Aaron Donald. We were just
That-
like, yeah,
that
they're
was-
the
that was
best.
easy. Yeah, that
That's
was,
it.
whether you think it or not, the Buckner thing was easy. Chris Jones is easy too. I missed that one, but
Yeah.
I think it's.
I had
I think-
Buckner at 7. That's respectable. I mean,
I don't. Yeah, no, that's not.
I would-
There's no way in hell Geno Atkins is higher than Buckner.
he's one higher. So,
He didn't.
Number 6.
That was my main issue.
and then Cam Hayward at 5, and Grady Jarrett, I think, is right now is better than, because Grady Jarrett's doing all this with mediocre D line help. And
I like it. I Jarrett at 6.
So-
I like him there. I think he's a solid player. I think he's a good player. You know, I listen, between the Falcons, I think they made the right move. You saddle up your defense to Grady Jarrett, not Vic Beasley.
yeah, but
Yeah. Oh well.
interesting. So that's our
what's
list.
what's our next one? I was kind of throwing. I want something easy. After
mean,
all
we
the
could-
debate we had with the outside linebackers and D-head.
We could.
So I was suggesting,
okay.
unless you want something else, since we did defense this time, we go to offense.
I was thinking that.
And since it was a historic draft for them,
Mm,
I would say wide receivers, and then just because it makes the most sense, tight ends.
wide receivers, tight ends. Okay.
Real question: does any rookie wide receivers in this historic class make your top 10?
Like drafted rookies,
Yeah.
like not hasn't even played an NFL snap yet.
Yeah.
No, none of that. Don't say CeeDee Lamb because I'll slap the shit out of you.